Welcome to the pod. You are listening to What the Reality with me, Cache Roberts. Welcome to another episode. Let's address the elephant in the room. So, the elephant in the room is that normally when I do What's the Reality on What the Reality, I follow up the next the next Friday with the part two, if there's a part two. Guys, I would be doing a disservice to myself and to y'all and to reality TV, pop culture, if we didn't just put that on hold for this episode. And I'm going to do it for next Friday while I'm in Cancun. So it'll be pre recorded, it'll be uploaded by Friday. But this episode isn't about that. And you know why this episode isn't about that? Because we have to talk about basketball wives. Pardon if the lighting is changing because, I like to film as the sun sets. I like the natural lighting. But I would be doing a disservice if we did not talk about basketball wives, if we didn't talk about Real Housewives of Miami, if we didn't talk about next Gen NYC, if we didn't talk about the Valley, if we didn't talk about, am I missing something? No, that's everything we're talking about because it's going to be one of those episodes. I could not post a Portia and Simon part two when all of this madness is happening around us. Like, what? I literally could not do that. We have reality TV to get into, but first, we're going to have reality topics. How are y'all doing? I just had to get that out the way because I know the folks was probably looking forward to the part two where I get into their divorce and that mess of it all. But I'm like, I literally physically cannot because of everything that's going on in reality TV. I have to talk about this stuff, especially given there was like 3 finales that just happened. There was this Miami, the Gertie of it all. Like, we got to talk about Miami. We got to talk about basketball wives. Like, there's some more important pressing stuff right now. Don't worry. Portia and Simon part 2 will be out next Friday while I'm in Cancun. And hopefully you guys are somewhere else. But I'm still going to upload it next Friday and it'll follow suit with What's the Reality on What the Reality. But I just had to put that out there. How are you guys doing on this lovely Friday? It is hot. It is hot. It is Thursday. I have the fan going behind me just in case because I get extremely hot. So if you guys do hear the fan, but how are you doing? Welcome back to another episode. And we're going to hop right into it because we have some reality topics and then we're going to get right into the reality TV because there's so much going on. And I do want to do some recaps. I want to talk about what I'm watching, but unfortunately right now we have to get a little serious. Nothing bad. It's just unfortunate. I graduated college in 2021. I thought I was graduating in a prominent, evident field in media and culture. That was my degree, along with English professional writing. And I thought I was just like doing the right thing, picking these 2 clear majors that mean so much to me. And I just knew it was going to be a booming business. Looking back, I wish I did do something more marketing business along with something creative instead of 2 creatives. But I could still do a lot of my degree. Unfortunately, the job market just sucks though. But needless to say, I want to talk about Stephen Colbert and the late night show being canceled. Paramount, or isn't that from Paramount? Paramount pulling that. Paramount also pulling their DEI. E-News being canceled after 34 years. There is something clearly happening in the TV industry. NPR funding was just cut. Congress cut like a bunch of media money. Or they cut a lot of federal funding, which NPR does rely on. So the editor-in-chief of NPR just stepped down. Like I said, the E-News, that news just dropped today, which was a big shock. Canceled after 34 years. E-News has been on air since 1991. And it's just unfortunate because like the little girl in me is seeing this industry she was so excited to get involved in. I was so excited to get into magazines and, the TV industry. My first internship was with iHeartMedia. I freelanced with BuzzFeed, Baller Alert. I would say I paid my dues. I'm still paying my dues to get into the industry because it's not linear. It's not a linear path. hence why I started my podcast and my newsletter. Make sure you guys are following the show, giving me 5 stars, commenting, letting me know. I got this comment on Spotify that I said something wrong in regards to Gerald being from Nigeria, and he's actually from Kenya. And it's like, I knew that, but I said it wrong, and I appreciated someone correcting me. And it's like, there's actually people listening to me, which was just crazy to me, besides like the people I know. So it was just like a full circle moment, a little win, like someone being able to be like, hey, like, he's not from XYZ, he's from this. And I just greatly appreciate it. And, that's why I have my newsletter on LinkedIn. Make sure you guys subscribe. It's going to be more so like a LinkedIn newsletter. Needless to say, it's like unfortunate that we're seeing kind of like at firsthand what this presidential campaign or this presidency is doing to our media and our news coverage. And I say this to say because there's going to be a moment in time very soon, and I hate to get all like the world's ending, but honestly at this point, who the heck knows? It's getting to a point kind of when you're pulling people off air, you're sending threats as a White House to Joy Behar from The View, talking about The View's ratings have been low, thinking about canceling it. It comes to a point when you are publicly criticizing the man, and now people are losing their jobs because we don't agree, and you're pulling DEI, which will be so short-lived until the next presidency. I'm hoping there's a next presidency. I'm hoping it's not going to become Germany. Needless to say, it's just like unfortunate what's happening to media and to news. And I don't like to get real, but like it, I mean, like serious in terms of political, but it is what I like talking about. We are seeing censorship happen like very much in front of our eyes. Like we are being censored as citizens in this country, and it's very scary. There are things we don't know that's happening in this country, and there's things we're not going to continue to know because of who is in office, and there's stuff that we're not going to know about other countries. Ever since the whole TikTok ban, it's back, it's not back, our people's algorithms are different, people's FYPs are different. We're not seeing the full story. I don't think we ever will. Seeing how NPR's funding was splendidly cut, and just seeing how, Stephen Colbert, a very prominent late night show host, very iconic, very outspoken, an icon, his show was taken off air because of his opinions. If that doesn't wake you guys up, I don't know what will. But it's like, what do you do at this point? You remain, I think all we can do is still rely on like true journalism. You have to just remain in the know. Make sure you don't lose that. And I have to remember myself, because I love reality TV, pop culture, but we need to still know what's going on. And I think a lot of people think they know what's going on and they don't. And that's why I always urge people, it won't be too much effort for you to maybe just type in your city, type in the city you want to move to, type in the state you want to move to, and just figure out what is going on locally, because soon I don't even think we'll have that. And like I said, I don't like to be a Debbie Downer, but it's very unfortunate as like, I graduated 4 years ago, which is crazy in itself. And it's just crazy how much the media has changed. I think even seeing the alert that E! News is going off air after 34 years, which is also, that is under NBC Universal. There is something happening. There is something happening. And people are like, E! News, I mean, that doesn't compare to NPR, Stephen Colbert. But for some people it does. And I think for me, that kind of signals that something bigger is happening. And it's like, we're not getting access as a nation, as a country, to stuff that we normally would. And certain stuff is being pulled if you do not stand with what is going on. And I saw this tweet today, and someone was like, it's definitely giving like Germany. And this is someone that's not even from America. Saw this tweet saying was giving Germany, like, you guys are kind of heading towards the Germany trajectory of like, the 1920s, 1930s. Everything was a bunch of like propaganda. A lot of stuff was very censored. And it was looking scary. And And I have to agree. I mean, yeah, I did pay attention in history class. I didn't like history class, but I know exactly what they're talking about. So I just always like advise people to like stay alert, still know what's going on. Hey, what am I now? I'm like 25, turning 26 in a week. Like, ugh, I hate it. I hate getting older. But it's, I think I'd be doing a disservice to myself and my podcast if I didn't talk about this type of stuff and how it does affect me and that little girl in me, and that college girl in me, when it's like I'm watching in real time stuff like this happen, like you guys are pulling prominent stuff. So that's my 2 cents. Let me open up my blinds a little bit more. I tell you guys I got like blackout curtains. Amazing for the sleep, amazing for blocking out the sun, especially during the summer. I feel like I'm at a hotel 24/7, but it does get pretty dark. It does get pretty dark. But that was my spill about media and just staying informed. And I think that's like the smartest advice, the best advice I got throughout college from my one professor is like to stay informed. You're doing yourself a dissatisfaction by not staying informed with what's going on, especially now because we are where we are as a nation. It's just going to start becoming harder to stay informed and harder to access information that we need to access. So if you don't do anything, hop off the TikTok every once in a while. Google what's going on near you. Google what is going on somewhere you want to be, somewhere you're vacationing. I'm going to Mexico. What is happening in Mexico? You know what I mean? Like, make sure you guys stay informed with what's happening in the world, because this reality TV stuff is nice. It's an amazing escape. I hope it never ends. But at the end of the day, we all got to come back down to planet Earth. And planet Earth is looking very scary right now. But that's my spill about national media coverage. To everyone that listens, hopefully you agree. If you don't, hop on to the next, because I am very outspoken when it comes to this. And my family, my friends know I don't even like talking about politics because I'm so like about it. But it is very scary, especially being like a Black woman in this day and age, a recent graduate. I'm just glad I was able to graduate, because a lot of people will not get that chance. And, you know, I was able to go to school with loans and stuff, and like they're even making that difficult. It's just real life stuff is happening. And you got to stay informed. You got to know what's going on 24/7. And don't feed into the social media too much. Everything on social media is not true. We do still need good journalism, good old journalism. We do still need to open up a textbook, read a novel. I don't know the last time I read a novel, but reading for me is like reading articles. So, but I do need to read a novel. Like maybe I'll do that for my end of the year resolution, read something. But we do need to take a step back from the social media, Google some stuff, look at our trusted local news, where you want to live, where you want to be at, and figure out what the heck is going on. It's people that want to relocate to California. California right now isn't so la la land right now. You know, people in DC just became one of the most expensive cities to live in. I love DC. They say you need 100K just to survive as a single person in DC. What? No one's talking about this stuff though. Anyway, that's my spiel. Let's talk about Bethenny Frankel, because she always has a spill. You're listening to What the Reality with me, Cassia Roberts. You probably didn't think you were listening to What the Reality with me, Cassia Roberts, because I was talking some serious stuff about news and media and all that stuff. But as you guys get to know me, as I get more into this podcast, you will find out I really am interested in that stuff. And that stuff is what kept the good grades in college, because I was like, this is some serious stuff. This is some stuff that we would have debates about. But Bethenny Frankel apparently is showing her butt again, because when she don't when she not showing her butt, she's on TikTok rapping to a Megan Thee Stallion song or Trina song. So apparently she has been fired from her job at Sirius FM. I think her podcast, or she was doing something there, but she was already fired before she could even like sign the dotted line. Some deal was in the making. This guy posted this video about what happened. Apparently some dinner. Bethenny had made a video about this, about like the ladies being super obnoxious, and I guess she like threw threw like some water on them or like threw her drink on them, not knowing one of the women was married to the Sirius FM CEO. So now her deal's been cut. She made some video. I'm about to try to find it. I'm going to play it for you guys. Obviously, I don't own this video, but I did find this video, and I think it's actually crazy what happened. So I'm going to play it for you guys through my mic like a true podcaster.
Her podcast this morning. She was at Steve's Talk House in the Hampton at a concert where there were women she described as Goldman billionaires' wives with diamond rings the size of discs. Kept describing these people as billionaires' wives. Is so jealous of women who snag rich men. So obvious. Look at Meghan Markle. Look at Lauren Sanchez. These women were up, standing on a table, dancing, blocking Bethenny's view. It pissed her off. They said they were taunting her, so she tossed a bottle of orange juice on all three of these women. She apologized for doing this, but then followed it up by saying if no one were to find out, she would do it again. She was in talks to do a show for Sirius XM radio. One of these women that she threw a drink on is actually the wife of a higher-up of Sirius XM radio. He just ghosted her. He never followed up for Bethenny to do this show. Bethenny is one of those women that men are usually smart enough to stay away from. Bethenny's YouTube is a flop. Her TikTok only gets attention when she's doing controversial things. And now she's taking to her podcast to bring up controversies from years ago. I do believe we're watching the decline of Bethenny Frankel. Bethenny Frankel got fired from Sirius XM radio for throwing a drink on the wife of one of the higher-ups of Sirius XM. She apologized on her podcast this morning. She was at Steve's Talk House in the Hampton.
I had to play that from the beginning because we missed it. So basically, that was from Reality A-Hole on Twitter. I wish I was lying about the username, but the person that created the video, that was Zach Giak from TikTok. So apparently, you guys heard some ladies got up on the table, was blocking her view. She got upset, tossed some orange juice on them, didn't realize one of them was the CEO. And she talks about all of this in her podcast. And then because she was cutting some deal with Sirius XM, I kept saying FM, was cutting some deal with them. Now the person's not hitting her back because of that incident. And yeah, so I think what's really important in that video is he was like, we are seeing the decline of Bethenny Frankel. And I've been saying that for a while. I think ever since her Housewives New York City return and then not return. And keep in mind, I wasn't watching New York City when it was originally out, but just rewatching it, even when she came back to the show, it's like she thought she was up here. I genuinely do think we are watching the decline of Bethenny Frankel and the fallout, the irrelevancy of her. I compare it to like the Kardashians. Like at first, like Bethenny Frankel was like the Kardashian of Bravo, and now it's kind of like you're becoming irrelevant, so you're trying to do anything that sticks. But what do y'all think about that? I mean, it just sounds like another, like nothing with Bethenny Frankel shocks me these days. Like I feel like she's always literally a mess. Like nothing literally shocks me when it comes to her. What else is happening before we get into these reality TV topics? I want to talk about Miami, Basketball Wives, Next Gen NYC, The Valley. That's the one I forgot. I'm just going to like do a quick little, I have something to say about all of those shows. Glorilla was arrested because her home was invaded. So I have this story up. I have this story from People magazine. So apparently she had a home invasion, and now this home invasion has turned into her being arrested. So the rapper was arrested on July 22nd after police allegedly found marijuana and a controlled substance in her home while responding to reports of burglary. So imagine you're calling the police because your house has been broken into, and then they're taking you into custody because of the marijuana. So where was she at? Glorilla was arrested in Georgia, allegedly after police allegedly discovered marijuana and controlled substance in her home while responding to a burglary attempt. The 25-year-old rapper did not know me and her were the same age period. Voluntarily turned herself into the Forbes County Jail on Tuesday. Her arrest comes after police responded to calls regarding a break-in at her home in the early hours of Sunday, July 20th. The call came in at 1:30 a.m. and was in response to a burglary in process. So it was reported that three suspects had entered the home and were in the process of stealing items when an armed occupant fired at the intruders. The police statement read, Um, yeah, just getting some other news about media stuff. I meant to talk. Did I mention that Paramount's pulling the DEI? I think I did. But back to this. The suspects fled the scene, and it does not appear that any of them were struck. No injuries were reported among the home's occupants. So while on scene, deputies detected a strong odor consistent with illegal narcotics. As a result, the drug task force was contacted and responded to the residence. After obtaining a search warrant, a significant amount of marijuana was basically found, and she was charged with felony possession of marijuana and possession. Okay, this may be written wrong. And she in possession of Scheduled 1 controlled substance. After turning herself into custody, Glorilla was released on a $22,000 bond. So authorities confirmed that investigation to the burglary is still active and ongoing. But I'd be like, honestly, screw you. I don't even need it. um, yeah. So and this comes after 1 year when she was arrested on those DUI charges back in April of 2024. So I don't think she needs to go to court. I'm hoping not. It says the incident report obtained by people at the time confirmed that an officer immediately noticed her eyes to be watery and bloodshot after pulling her over for allegedly making. Okay, so that's talking about her DUI. But she is scheduled to take stage Friday, July 25th at a show in her hometown, Memphis, Tennessee. Her first annual Glow Bash will feature supporting performances from Muni Long and Rob 49. So I don't think she has to go to court, but she did turn herself in. She got out on bail. It's just hilarious, not hilarious, but it's just crazy to me, like how your home is literally broken into, but the officers are so worried about what you got going on, not the incident at hand. And they're like, you know what, we're actually going to take you in because you're over here high. I mean, I get it, but I'm just like, dang, what a mess. Um, Everything I'm watching. Yeah, because I already talked about everything. A big part of it was the media stuff. Everything I'm watching right now, I just binged The Ultimatum. That was good. The Ultimatum Queer Love. You guys want to get into some mess, some drama, some tea, watch The Ultimatum Queer Love. That was good. Um, I mean, it's been out, so I don't think I'll spoil anything. The amount of couples that ended up, saying yes, I am very shocked. I'm trying not to touch my hair, but it needs to just stay like this. The amount of couples that ended up saying yes is beyond me. I really thought, now I'm trying to remember the names. Pilar and Ashley. I think it's Pilar and Ashley. I'm shocked that they got together. Not shocked about Marie and Megan. I mean, not Marie and Mel. Mel's a. I can't believe her and Dana are still denying that they did something. They definitely did something. We heard it. Not shocked that Dana and I saw these names. Dana and Megan are still together. They looked good at the reunion. What I really was upset about, and I'm super happy for Brittany and AJ. What I'm very annoyed with is that Marie really was irritated at the reunion at Brittany for ruining her experience. But I think Marie was just salty in general. So we do find out Marie broke up with Mel a couple months before the show even came out. They didn't even really speak on it, which I was like, what is going on here? She talked about, you was like, you really didn't think I knew about your lupus. It was just giving like, what are you so bitter about? Like she was super bitter, Marie. Super bitter, super angry, and we didn't even get to the root of that. So I really wanted to know, why did you guys break up? Because it wasn't because of the show, even though I knew it was going to be because of the show. And then we had out of left field freaking I cannot remember these girls' names. It's so many similar names. what is their names? Allison and why do I think it's Haley? Let me get their names up. The Ultimatum Queer Love Cast. Um I think it's, no, not Haley. It's, okay, now I loved Brittany and AJ. And I really liked Brittany. She was my favorite. I'm talking about, I needed Mel. Mel couldn't do anything to her hair for that reunion. She didn't do anything to her hair that whole time. She needs to let it go. She needs to straighten it or do something with it. That hair needs to been let go. Yeah, Dana and Megan look together. They're like the hottest couple, them, and then Brittany and AJ. Ashley and Marita. I was not expecting that much heat from them. I mean, I knew they weren't gonna stay together. I knew it wasn't gonna work out because Marita kept complaining that she wanted all of these acts of love shown, and Ashley was like, "I don't know why I can't show you that or give that to you." Ashley basically was cheating on Marita, y'all, while Marita was losing her grandfather, and they got into it at the reunion. And then Ashley's like, well, my grandma is dying right now. And Marita said, I do not care. It's not funny, but she says she do not care. And then Ashley stormed off. Now that's she said she do not care because she said you was cheating on her. I did not expect for them to get into it. Watch Ultimatum Core Love. I binged that 2-3 days. That's better than the ultim. That's better than Love Is Blind. I will always say the ultimatums are better, and I think the queer one does not get enough attention. I'm about to watch Too Hot to Handle France or Italy because they are getting a lot of edits on Twitter. This one couple, this hot couple, can't keep their hands off each other. They are losing the money for everyone. I haven't watched Too Hot to Handle since Melinda and Melvin, I think his name was on. I just stopped watching Too Hot to Handle ever since that. But I will watch a different country one 110%. Like, I do not mind doing that. But if you haven't watched The Ultimatum Queer Love, I think the biggest bombshell is like Ashley and Marita falling out like that. I knew they both said no, or Ashley did not propose and she was the one that issued the ultimatum to Marita. She ended up not even proposing to her. That was the biggest shock, in the fact that Mel and Dana got matching tattoos and they still didn't leave together. But that Mel and Dana are still contesting or upholding that they did not sleep together, because I guess when you are queer, sleeping together is different, or crossing that boundary is different than when it is a straight couple. They all have different rules for each other over there. So they said technically, if you want to get off on a technicality, they did not hook up. Now, do I think they hooked up? Yes. Megan is clearly fine with it. Megan played the mess out of what was her name, Haley. She said, I love you. Turned around a week later and said, yeah, I don't love you, I have love for you, after she didn't lie to that girl. I didn't really care for Haley, though. I'm shocked Haley and Pilar are still together, because if I was Pilar, I'd feel like a second best. And of course it was like Bridget and the one girl that I can't remember, the blonde buzz cut, Kyle. They were fine, but I was really rooting for AJ and Brittany. I'm not gonna lie. I like Dana. I like Dana. She's sassy, and I'm just glad her and Megan stayed. And I think that should be written in the contract, like when you're on the ultimatum, because a lot of people try to leave, like if they don't like the fact that they're not connecting with anyone and their partners, they're like, okay, I'm just going to give you what you want. I think it should be written in their contract, because apparently this season of Love Island, a couple Love Island USA people were trying to leave with the person that would leave. Apparently Iris was trying to leave with TJ, and they were basically like, you can't, out of your contract. Huda and Chris were trying to leave before the finale because, their finale thing did not go well at all. and they said it's basically in your contract. So I think Netflix should start doing that with the ultimatum and Love is Blind. Like, you guys cannot exit the experiment once you are in. That is unfair to our viewers. So watch the ultimatum. I'm about to start Too Out to Handle France or something. Started King's Court. I'm only an episode in. I wish my first date would be skydiving. Tyson had got these two girls to skydive for their first date. Imagine you get picked, because not everyone gets picked. Um, and the first date, we pulling up, and it's skydiving. I don't care how attractive you are. I don't care if you're Usher Raymond or Morris Chestnut. You are not getting me to skydive on our first date. Nope, I'm gonna stay right here and I'm gonna watch you. I'll watch you fall. I will watch you fall. There is no way I am skydiving for a first date, and I don't even know the person. But those girls really wanted to show that they were about it. You know who else is about it? Riley freaking Burris. Next Gen NYC has proven to be the underdog that everyone is now rooting for. The ratings, they said, I think on Peacock and Bravo has reached like a unsurmounted like 5 million now within like since the premiere. Bravo execs were not expecting this type of reception. I think they were going to renew it out of honor for the housewives, and you know, the housewife kids. I definitely think they were going to renew it, but I don't think they even thought about promoting it that much and stuff until now they see the ratings. They're definitely getting a reunion next season. And they are probably, because this had 8 episodes, they're probably going to get like, I think, at least 10 to 16 episodes. Next Gen NYC, I'm glad I gave it a chance, because when I first initially saw it, I was like, is it going to be corny? Lo and behold, they kind of found their VPR without doing a VPR, because this is a group of young 20 somethings. We're kind of familiar with some of them. We're familiar with the housewives kids. So, you know, you're already rooting for someone. You're rooting for them to get out of their parents' shell. And then, you know, we got these other go-getters also on the show. Like it was actually like the perfect show. I really liked Next Gen NYC. I want to talk about what happened in this finale, like the group basically policing Riley's behavior. And now we have like 4 different shows where Black women are being policed with what they should be doing on Bravo. And it's really getting frustrating. But I will say about Riley Burris, she is 21. She is young. They are all very young, even though Gia acts like she's like 40 years old. But they are all very young. And Riley and Ariana, I think, are like the youngest, and Gia, which I'm like shocked that she was acting like that. They're all cool though on social media. Like, they were all hanging out for the finale. The housewife people, the housewife kids, Riley, Ariana, Brooks, and Gia, they were all hanging out. And I think it was Shy, but in the city or something. But I'm just saying, like, what was I saying? Them trying to police her behavior. I will say, when Riley is drinking, she does get a little, you know, not rah-rah, but she gets lit. She stays lit. She's 21, you know, she's learning her limit. But also, I just feel like Charlie talks to people crazy. Ariana talks to people crazy. I mean, they all talk to people crazy. I just think it's crazy for them to kind of single out Riley. That's what I was not enjoying. But I think Riley held her own. I think she has a true friend in Ariana. It was amazing to watch, you know, Ariana own up to her mistakes of like, I should definitely have your back. I want to make sure we're good. Because Ariana is new to the city and she's really grateful for her friendship with Riley. You know, they weren't in each other's lives because Candy and Kim had fallen out, like, you know, years ago. And it never should really affect the kids, but it has. And they just never really were able to get back on the same track. So, especially being in this new space, this new show together, I really enjoyed Ariana, and her just owning up to that. I enjoyed Riley. I don't know if this was the finale episode or the episode was before. I think it was this episode when Riley like dropped her freaking phone in the water. She was just lit. Riley just be lit. She have a good time. I also love Gia's boyfriend, Christian, clocking her. Cause Gia's like, Riley, I don't want you to feel like you can't say anything or you have to be quiet around us. Sometimes I just think you can say things nicer. And Christian was like, hey, if you don't like what she's saying, you don't even have to talk to her. Like, I don't think she should change how she's talking to basically appease you. And the way Gia was on mute, she was just like, thanks, Christian. Like, and I don't even think Riley clocked that he stood up for her. He was like, hey, like, what are you doing? Like, if you don't like the way she's talking, don't engage with her. That is an emotionally intelligent man. Gia, I hope you keep that man in your life. They're dating for 5 years. I didn't know that. So I appreciated that. We also saw Georgia's bowling club, which Riley was correct about. It was just giving bowling alley with overpriced martini drinks. The food wasn't even hers. I think the vision will not come together. I think she should not think smaller, because I'm never one to tell someone to think smaller. I'm like, think bigger. Think more, I think, realistic, innovative venues. I think a bowling alley, turning that into a club, maybe a smaller bowling alley, or a different bowling alley. The alley they were, it was literally giving like 60s. Like, I was not a fan of it, how it looked, and I think maybe she shouldn't have rushed that. But I think she was just trying to get them a concept, but it was just giving like midnight bowling, like with a bunch of like teens. I'm not gonna lie. Also, Georgia's boyfriend is allegedly a scammer. Ever since Georgia has fat shamed Amira, who I end up absolutely loving, she's been her enemy number one. She said that man is a scammer. Google him. The people Googled him. It looks like he's a scammer, but he lives in a $10,000 apartment. Georgia then she thought she found herself a good one. We'll get to that. What else happened? Ava got caught up in her lie with Brooks, basically saying, she had to go to the Hamptons for her career, and she couldn't even keep track when her fitting was. And I will say, if you didn't want to go to Jersey Shore, just say that. But she's like, I don't want to be in a car for 10 hours. I had to Google it. Does Jersey not have a airport, or like you could have flown into New Jersey and then just did that? I don't know, from the Hamptons or something. I don't know. Ava's excuse, like, if you didn't want to go to Jersey Shore, okay, fine. But I also think Ava like thinks of herself like up here. Um, it's not shocking because her dad's Dame Dash and her mom's Rachel Roy, who seems genuinely humble, Rachel Roy. But I am shocked she's not satisfied where she's at in her career for modeling. Not that you ever should be satisfied. I'm not satisfied. But I'm just saying, like, I am shocked she's not further, given the fact that her mom is a designer, Rachel Roy. And I think Ava thinks there's only one niche when it comes to modeling: runway. And maybe you aren't a runway model. Maybe you're a huge campaign model. Maybe you're going to be on the billboards. Maybe you want to work with brands of that sort. I think she's trying to do runway. And for some reason, I just don't think she has that editorial look. But who am I? Just a girl obsessed with Ugly Betty, Devil Wears Prada, and everything magazines. But I'm just saying, maybe you don't have the editorial runway look. Like, of course, you'll be invited to walk, but maybe you won't be, walking for a Balmain or something. Maybe you will be like, you know, just I would say with Ava, she should open up her options. I don't think modeling is linear at all. The thing is with modeling, there's so many other opportunities. Maybe you're not a Balmain or Chanel. Maybe you are, celebrity brands though, or Dior. There's levels to different runways. I think when people think of runway, like high fashion, couture, maybe you're not couture, maybe you are designer brands. Maybe that's what I'm trying to say, which I also think is something you can definitely attain. But I don't know what she's looking for when it comes to modeling. For you to miss the Jersey Shore for a pop-up event, as Amira said, like, it's not even a store opening for Dolce & Gabbana, which Amira was invited to, but Ava tried to act like she wasn't. If anyone would be invited, it would be Amira. Amira has like over 1 million followers on TikTok. She is that girl. Walked in Victoria's Secret. So I'm wondering if Ava's kind of jealous of that. Ava comes off very jealous to me. She threw shade this season at Ariana about her fashion line. Ava comes off very jealous and insecure to me because she's still trying to figure it out, and that's okay. Be honest about that. What else happened? So Brooks caught her up in that, but Brooks didn't really confront her on that because Brooks don't really have a backbone. I want to see Brooks back. I don't need him narrating anything though. His voice is like claws. Like claws. It's like honestly terrible. Claws on a chalkboard. I don't enjoy listening to him speak. People can say that about me. I don't care. But and he doesn't care. I don't need him narrating anything. And I also need him to get a backbone because Charlie over here talking about like screwing your sister and you don't even have smoke for that. But now you got smoke because Ava, you trying to figure out if Ava lied to you or not. But you ain't had no smoke for Charlie who said, "Oh, I might be screwing your sister tonight." So that's my issue with Brooks. Also, it's so clear Seth and Meredith live in New York full time. They rent in Salt Lake City. They do. And it's so true now. I like Meredith Seth though. I don't need Seth in confessionals though. I think he's a little weird. That's my opinion. What else happened? Okay, so Georgia's man broke up with her. I feel like we needed 3 episodes alone for that. What? He didn't got his assistant, packed up her stuff, and left it outside of Charlie's. And Charlie is in the mess now because he is apparently working with him in his scamming company and raising money for this company, which is literally beyond me. But now Georgia and Charlie will be living together. Georgia came back from Singapore looking like a whole new woman. She had this jet black hair. She looked like America's Next Top Model. Like she looked like she had a full makeover. Like when when Tyra Banks takes you and she's like, "Girl, we're coloring this hair. Girl, we are cutting this hair off, and this is gonna be your new identity." Georgia came in with a chip on her shoulder and looking better than ever. And that brings me to my MVP, which was definitely Georgia. I started off the season not liking Georgia. I was like, "You're disgusting. Like, you're not literally washing your hands." Actually got a warning on my podcast TikTok account because someone responded. We were talking about it. And I was like literally disgusting, like foul. That's all I said in the comment. Apparently that got me a warning. I think the warning's been like the time's passed. I haven't had another violation. But I'm like, TikTok, y'all need to get your stuff together because what is going on? How is that a violation of anything when I'm literally having a conversation in the comments? Like they flag that as like harassment. But I'm like literally talking about someone on a reality show I watch. Like I'm not responding to someone like that. Like what are you it's disgusting. It is foul that she didn't wash her hands. Either way, Georgia's my MVP because the way she told Charlie off to this day is hilarious. I think she's delusional. She's a little she's quirky, she's hardworking. She represents New York well. She's a go-getter. She got that grit in her, that hustle, and I really like to see that. So she would be my favorite non-housewife MVP or MVP. I think my housewife MVP of the season would probably be Ariana Behrman because I'm like, she put it on the line. I'm excited to see Riley come into her own personality because she's always been shy. And I think she is coming into her own personality on the show, which I think is really good for her. And then my LVP, my least valuable player, would probably be Brooks and Ava. Ava did start some stuff, so I guess I would give it to Brooks. I don't really see the point of him being on there besides Meredith and Seth being on there. Brooks shies away from drama. He shies away from confrontation. And he don't really stand on his own. He doesn't stand out to me. However, they say he's the glue. He's the connector. He's the Joe Zarin. He knows everyone. So maybe that's why they were really pushing him to be center. But in my opinion, the center people for that show, Georgia, Riley, Ariana, Charlie. Those are people that were in the middle of a lot of conflict, in the drama, in the mess. People don't like Charlie. I mean, I don't dislike Charlie. This is a 30 heterosexual white male. I mean, like, I don't know. There's not very few I like that age, and you know what I mean. I'm just saying, Charlie is good for the show, and let's not ruin the show. Moving on to the Valley, something that's been completely ruined. The only good thing about the Valley is that Kristen has finally had her baby Kaya. It was just so crazy for her, just documenting her progress and how she just thinks like it'll never happen for her, and then it did happen for her. If they do want another one, God bless, I hope they can get another baby, but she is in total Bliss having that baby girl. She's so cute. And it'll be really interesting to watch the reunion because Kristen just thought she would never get pregnant. Jags is not sober, not in that season finale. He's doing shots. He is seed out. He's not sober. He thinks he did not need rehab. He thinks he needs anger management. Not true. And that is what an addict would say. I don't know if he's sober now. I think he was pushed out of Bravo for now. They're going to try to give him another 10 years. He's done. He's done. He's threatened and he's insecure. And Brittany, I hope you are lawyering up with the right people because Jax is going to try to get spousal support. He said it multiple times. You make more than him. He has put you purposely in this financial hardship. I hope she wakes up. I hope she wakes up. You know who else has woken up? Michelle. And I caught this. And I don't mom shame at all because you do what you do. I said Michelle's focus was this relationship when I, in my opinion, think her focus should have been easing Isabella into this new family dynamic of her and Jesse no longer being together. Because that's what Jesse was attempting to do. But Michelle was so far up Aaron's butt, so intrigued, so obsessed, so adorned, rose-colored glasses. I think it's very odd that you moved you and your daughter in with him that fast. Y'all were dating for a year. Yes, you definitely cheated on Jesse with Aaron, which I don't really care about. But I think she moved very fast with Aaron. And if you guys don't know, now you know that her and Aaron aren't even together. They have broken up officially as of Thursday when I'm filming this. This morning I logged onto Twitter. That's where I find all of my news. Logged onto Twitter this morning. She has wiped him from her feed. She is no longer seeing him and she is moving out currently as we speak, and they are getting ready to start filming for season 3. So she will be back. I think she should get her priorities together and maybe not be so concerned with dating. Maybe try to figure out your family, easing now Isabella, you said she was super excited for you and him to get married. Now this is another man that's not like, well, Jesse will be consistent in her life. I'm just saying it's another shakeup for this kid now to have to go through because you guys were all living together. So Michelle, I hope you get your priorities straight because I just think she's a joke. Who else is a joke? Janet and Jason. I didn't talk about the last couple episodes because I don't know. I've been ready for it to end. I don't like this whole trying to get Danny and Nia this negative light. I hope Danny and Nia do not let this outside stuff spoil their marriage. They moved into this gorgeous home in Santa Clarita, I'm pretty sure. That Jasmine did not sell them, thankfully. But what was I going with this? Janet and Jason decided to get ring tattoos, and it's the most ugliest ring tattoos I've ever seen. It's like a literal line, like a line you draw when you're bored in middle school, when you're just doodling so you don't fall asleep. It's like the ugliest line. I think the fact that they went to that extent to get tattoo rings where there's smoke, there's fire, clearly that rumor rubbed them the wrong way. Something has happened. I'd be interested in season 3 to see what happens because I think they are both equally terrible people. And now it makes sense as to why Jason is with her. I don't like Janet and I don't like Jason. And I am shocked with the position he has because I'm just shocked he's on TV with these certain allegations hurling at people and you working for a firm. I am shocked about that. Now, we don't know where he works, but I am genuinely shocked with that sort of energy from him. Brittany's doing it all on her own though. Jesse also took fault for his part in this episode as well, which I did appreciate. I like Jesse, besides him being up Jax, but I don't know what Jax has on all these guys. Jax came in with a chip on his shoulder. He's like, my issue is with Danny and Nia. They think they're the perfect power couple. I'm the perfect power couple. Dude, you and Brittany aren't even together anymore. Jax is just so jealous whenever someone gets the spotlight and gets the warm reception. I think Jax really thought as soon as he came back from rehab, he was going to be the number one guy in the group. I think the guys are really threatened by Danny and Nia because Nia has not chosen to sell her marriage for the show to talk about his drinking issues when all of y'all stay drunk. So it's like Danny's like, you have no leg to stand on. How are you going to tell me that I need to get my drinking under control and you just left rehab? Like, come again? Like, are you serious? But Brittany's doing it all on her own now. She is paying for Cruz's medication. She is paying for that house note. She has gotten herself in a pickle. She's finally seen the light, but she has gotten herself in a pickle when it comes to Jax Taylor. This divorce is gonna be ugly because Jax is gonna try to milk as much money as he can from her. So I do hope, my feelings for Brittany aside, I did post a TikTok that kind of like did some numbers, or whatever. My feelings aside from Brittany, I do think she knew exactly who Jax was, and I think she wanted to live a Hollywood life. And unfortunately, you kind of trade your soul. They say that's the saying, like you trading your soul just to like become popular, like for that fame. And I think she did exactly that because you knew exactly the type of person Jax was. And that's my opinion on that. I genuinely think she knew what kind of person he is. And I think you and Jax are fairly similar. I think you guys are very similar people. I think you maneuver social relationships the same. I think you're also manipulative. I think you're a narcissist. I think you're a gaslighter. I think you have a victim mentality and you have no loyalty to the people that held you up, aka Kristen and Zach. Zach had a whole outburst, but I'm not even talking about him. My feelings aside for Brittany, it is unfortunate that she's gotten herself in this pickle, now being a single mom, paying off this expensive house, and, navigating life without Jax because Jax has been her arm, her leg, her heart for 10 years. And unfortunately, my sympathy for her is ran out. So has my empathy. But I still got a little bit in there, just a little, to be like, you know what, it is unfortunate what you've gotten yourself into. And I hope the divorce isn't as ugly, but something is telling me he's going to try to milk you dry. And you are going to have to really tap into your influencer bag and try to stay on the valley, try to elongate that as long as you can. Moving on, do we want to do Miami or Basketball Wives? So I'm going to do Miami just because I'm going to stick to Bravo right now. And then I had my spill about Basketball Wives. So Gertie, we're just going to talk about what happened in this episode. No scene by scene. Gertie put Julia on blast deservingly. She was possessed by Kenya's spirit. I don't know if her and Kenya are friends. I don't know if Kenya was like, you can do it, just don't show no pictures because I'm on suspension right now. Go ahead and blast what you need to. Just don't show any nude photos. I don't think it was because it clearly wasn't planned. You can see her literally talking with Russell during while at the event. Like, well, I have no other choice. She has put Julia on notice. And she's like, you know what? You want to play the victim? Let's play the victim. So Julia has been very snide. She was super thirsty to get in with Alexia and Marisol. Now that she is in, she is happy that she is right where she needs to be in the toilet. The toilet paper for them, the door handle for them. She's happy in the place she's in with the group because she finally feels like she's in with the bro and the Cuban doll, Barbie doll. So Julia has completely forgotten and thrown Adriana and Gertie under the bus for whatever reason because she thinks Marisol and Alexia won't in a heartbeat do the same to her. But last episode with the narcissistic healer, which was total BS. In my opinion, if you ask me who's the biggest narcissist on Real Housewives of Miami, I'm giving it to Alexia Nipola. I think that lady is delusional, and I think that girl is troubled, and I think she thinks the world revolves around her. I think she thinks she's the HBIC, maybe because she's like the last standing OG, but I would challenge that because Adriana and Marisol are on there, but they're not housewives. But I don't like Alexia. I think she's full of it. And I think she has a narcissistic personality the most. but she doesn't think that because she has empathy. She doesn't think that because she has empathy. Anyway, something a narcissist would say. So at that Greek goddess party about narcissism, Julia brought up to the man, the healer, that her friend did this, talking about Gertie. After you had just made a pact with Gertie that you guys would not be throwing each other on the bus and talking about the problems you resolved anymore with the group. It was within the same episode. So Gertie's like, I thought we just agreed not to do that. You know, Gertie tried to cut her off, was like, well, I'm glad we had a conversation, yada, yada, yada. Fast forward to Gertie's celebration of life event, which was gorgeous. Gertie that throws events is back. She's back in her bag. She's back to working because, you know, she didn't really work. She had this huge thing going on in her life. And that's why I'm still so shocked that these ladies are not giving her grace, because just because you beat cancer does not mean it won't come back. She's still considered, I don't know if she's considered still in remission now that she has beat it, but they couldn't wait for her to beat it because now they are trying to isolate her out of the group. And I don't like it. I don't like what's going on in Miami. I mean, am I enjoying watching it? Yes. Did I laugh this whole episode? No. But did I laugh at this whole event? Yes. Gertie's event, amazing. And I guess Julia rubbed her the wrong way. And we see this when we do like a rewind, is she did not like how Julia is still trying to play the victim to Russell now. And we even saw Julia trying to do that, especially when she was talking to Marisol. She was just like, well, you know, clearly he's only gotten one version from Gertie. But it's like, of course he would get that version from Gertie. That's his wife. And of course he would stand on it. Russell was not paying her any mind. She was trying to strike a conversation about adopting those two black boys, which is something very much unsettles me with that. I don't know if anyone else is unsettled with that. Something rubs me the wrong way that Martina and her have adopted two black boys, not really knowing the cultural significance of it or the weight in the world we are kind of right now. Also, Martina and Julia are very much older. I'm very shocked that adoption got proved. I hope something's very unsettling to me. It comes off very performative to me. I was listening to Kempire and he was like, why is the kid in Balenciaga, especially given what Balenciaga kid had? I don't know. They are very performative, especially now that Martina's like surrogacy just shouldn't be happening. It's not natural when you guys adopt it. And someone can argue that that's not a natural. So I don't even think Andy Cohen's feeling Julia because we talk about Watch What Happens Live, but I don't think Andy Cohen is feeling her at all because he's clearly Team Gertie. Either way, Gertie decides to blast the text messages at her event. She does a nice transition. She says goodbye to her kids and her husband, gets them out of there. The husband knows what's happening. Russell fully supported it. He confirmed that on Watch Up Live. He is sick of Julia's stuff as well. Like I said, he was paying her dust as she's trying to strike up conversation. Like, you know, I have two boys now too. And he was like, well, good luck with that and congratulations. That man do not play about Gertie, as he shouldn't. And then she decided to blast the text messages. And the text messages weren't even salacious or anything. It was just proving like you were the one that invited me on the boat, on the cruise, and then didn't have a seat for me. Jen Fessler, she ran into Jen Fessler from New Jersey. Jen Fessler also did not have a seat. They got drinks after. They realized they were both on the same cruise and kikied, and now Jen Fessler and Gertie are good friends. Jen Fessler was also at Watch What Happens Live. That's that. The lady's reaction to the text messages to me says everything we needed to see. But you have no reaction when Julia tosses water at Gertie. But you have this huge reaction. I understand it was because of celebration of life in honor of cancer. Do I think that was the right time to do it? No. But Gertie has also made a point to say, I'm living in my truth now. You can't really get much over me. If something bugs me, it bugs me. We are no longer going higher, as Michelle Obama says, we are going lower when someone goes low. And Julia keeps playing with her. The girls in the group keep playing with her. And they all said, note to self, we are not about to be texting Gertie nothing crazy. Alexi said, this is exactly why I pick up the phone so nothing like this will happen to me. She said, I already know how y'all girls roll, which I thought was funny. And Lisa's like, note to self, I am not going to piss off Gertie. I think they take advantage of Gertie's kindness. They're like, oh, Gertie, she won't do nothing. Gertie just said checkmate. I'm shocked Larsa was disgusted. I'm shocked Marisol was, because at your wedding, I mean, Julia literally tossed water on her. But that's why I always say there is a black issue in Miami. They're trying to isolate Gertie. They are trying to accept Kiki as the token one, just like they did with Garcelle and Bose on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. If you don't get the correlation, you will soon as the Miami season goes on. But I understood it as soon as Kiki pulled Gertie to the side at that gym and was like, "The ladies feel like you're doing too much. I think you are doing too much for the ladies. You want to be the only token black girl. That's exactly what that is. We can't coexist in the same group. It can only be one black girl. That's the real tea." The ladies had an issue with the text messages. I lived for it. I am glad Gertie was like, you know what? I'm glad her man had her back. And I am glad she showed these ladies I am not the one or the two. It could have happened in a better event. But even when I look back on it, she transitioned that real nice. She's an event planner. She said, I have some other festivities coming up. She said, this is a celebration of life. She got the cancer part out the way. Gratifying, thankful for her friends. She even saw Watch Happens Live. Her friends knew exactly what was going to go down. She got people in her life that ride for her. So they know if it's gotten to that point, she had a point to prove. She transitioned the event very nice. She escorted her sons out. She told Russell to get out of there. And then she lit Julia's butt on fire. Julia had no choice but to look dumbfounded. As soon as I would have saw those screen text messages between me and you, I'm leaving. Julia just standing there waiting for people to follow her out. She don't know what to do. She's lost until the girls are like, well, we have to leave. Julia looked like a lost puppy. She actually looked like one of those lost ponies on her farm. I'm not buying anything Julia is selling on that farm, including those chicken eggs. But Gertie did what needs to be done. Gertie is getting an outwavering amount of support on Twitter and threads. I don't know what those polls were. The polls, even though the polls weren't necessarily against Gertie, besides the one that said now, given the text message stunt, like whose side are you on? And people were siding with Julia, which I just felt like whatever. But was it messy? Yes. But I think it was justified. Even Andy said a little bit of both. He thought it was justified as well. He don't like Martina, y'all. Ever since that tweet, and Julia has not been on Watch Happens Live since. I don't know if Julia's going to come back next season, given the fact of Martina's comments about surrogacy. I don't know if she's coming back, and that's what she gets. That was Real Housewives of Miami. Gertie got into that butt, and I appreciated it because you got one, how many times to try something with me? That's how Jackie Christie was feeling. Let's get into the Basketball Wives. Let's get into Basketball Wives real quick. I'm already over an hour. Do you guys have time? We got to get into Basketball Wives. Jackie Christie and Chantel Christie had the epic blow up on Basketball Wives, her daughter. I'm going to just regurgitate what I say on my TikTok. Jackie got fed up. Jackie is a Leo. Her birthday's around the corner. I think her birthday's the 26th, 27th. She's a July Leo, so those Leos are a little different than the August ones. I'm an August one. But either way, I think Chantel was pestering her mom, berating her, provoking her, gaslighting her into a fight. Every time she wanted to have a conversation, she was rah-rah with her. I think Jackie continuously walking away proves how much restraint she has and respect she has for her daughter. She did not want to engage in any conversation surrounding her daughter in their relationship, but Chantel welcomed it, and that brings me to Chantel's intentions with joining the show. Chantel wanted to embarrass her mom. I understand having unresolved trauma. I think two things can be true. Jackie Christie was not a present mom. And I do think you can be an a-hole to your mom. I think Jackie Christie walking away, trying not to do this on national television, was her respecting y'all's relationship. You don't even respect it. You calling your mom all out of her name, calling her all types of B's, letting Brittany Renner, someone who joined this religion as an ode to a man she was screwing, to a man she was married to for maybe 72 hours before divorcing. Only reason she got married to him is so they could do the extramarital affair, even though he has multiple wives on the side. One famously known, Draca Great Gates. I'm talking about Kevin Gates. You only converted to Muslim religion. Oh, I think I said that wrong. You only converted for this man so you could get piped down and make a quick bag. You brought on people specifically from this religion. You're making a mockery. You're performative. Now I check your Instagram, butt is out, breast is out. You're back with Fashion Nova. You are a joke. You let Brittany Renner sit up there and talk about your mom, call her all outside of her name, because Brittany Renner got some unresolved issues going on with her mom, who we just saw last season taking care of her kid. Her mom was her support system. What happened there? She was taking her money or something? I think that's what she said. You let in this Denise girl get in your ear. You was trying to like rally the troops and get them all to go against your mom. I know you guys have a bad relationship, but it wasn't that bad until that Vegas trip. And you took it too far, Chantel. You took it too far. You put hands on your mom after you you couldn't control your own self, her own composure. She's like, I'm just letting you know we're done. Okay, if we are done, then walk off. She couldn't. She had to keep turning around, berating her into a conversation. You bringing in your dad into it, talking about your kids hate you. This is stuff like we just shouldn't be seeing. This is something that has shook Twitter. People are defending Jackie endlessly. There is 2% of losers defending Chantel because at the end of the day, they're like, well, mom shouldn't be disrespecting, yada, yada, yada. I agree with that to a point. Like, yeah, you don't demand respect if you don't give it or whatever. And there is this silent belief in the black community. You know, you respect your parents though, but also there is this toxic relationships between father and sons in the black community, mothers and daughters that we speak about. And they very much could have that. It sounds like they had that. My issue is Chantel didn't seem like she ever wanted to resolve it. She just seemed like she wanted to expose her mom and really just get her off the show and take her place. But I don't think you realize this is the Jackie Christie show, which is exactly why she showed you it was the Jackie Christie show. Because before this epic blowout, she was paying you dust. Now that she gave you something, a bruise probably, because she swung on her daughter because her daughter pushed her. She's like, you can't escape. Just trying to keep cornering her. Kept trying to like. So she got swung on. She got bopped. Before this, there was no reunion. Now there is going to be a reunion and a Part B finale being filmed. Apparently, now there's a reunion. Thankfully, they're going to film it. They're going to film it because how can you not film it? You got to capitalize as a network on something like this. This is everything on Twitter. It's a whole meme. Chantel joined the show for the wrong reasons. If you have some unfiltered feelings towards your parents, I don't think joining Basketball Wives was the smart move. I think you should go to therapy. But I also think a lot of this is performative. I think she let a lot of people get hyped up. I think it's very funny and cowardice and hypocritical of Evelyn to get involved when no one can say anything about Shanice getting knocked up by the game who is now interested in pursuing Krishan Rock. I think that's rich. But you can't say anything about that and how she got that baby. But you want to put your 2 cents in to this. So I always give my MVPs of Basketball Wives season thus far to Brandy, because Brandy's like, I don't care how Jackie feels about me. I know she don't like me if she don't like you. Talking about Chantel. And that's just the facts. If she don't like her own daughter, of course she's talking crap about me. But that's not about me. It's the point that Chantel was so thirsty to get everyone at that table involved in her and her mom's issues when she should have just took it up with her mom off camera. So now this is kind of living in the universe forever. You will forever have a meme of your mom bopping you at your grown age because you wouldn't leave her alone. Chasing her through the hallway, like I said, calling her out her name, getting your big threes, big L's, I call them, to kind of gang up on your mom, trying to rally the girls. I think it will be very interesting to see the reunion because Jackie has gotten an outpour of love. It'll be interesting to see who changes their tune. Ming Lee has already issued a statement. Chantel has issued a statement. I don't have time to read it right now. I gotta go, y'all. Went over. But I think it'll be really interesting at the reunion to see who changes their tune. Just like I think it'll be really interesting at the Miami reunion to see who changes their tune because social media is in such utter support for Gertie. But that was Basketball Wives. I think Chantel should not be asked back on the show. If Jackie doesn't come back to the show, they have no show. I don't think Chantel should return. I don't think Brittany Renner should return, and I don't think Denise should. I would love to see Ming and Ty return. I think those were great additions. Give Brandy back as a full basketball wife. That she was the one that maintained her stance very neutral. Her and Ty, in my opinion, Ming did to a certain point. I would always have people not get involved in family business. It's none of your business. And I think the fact that Chantel desperately wanted everyone involved speaks a lot more about her character and how much of a reflection you are actually to your mom. That was what the reality with me, Kasha Roberts. We had some reality TV stuff to get into. So glad we did. We talked about Basketball Wives, Next Gen NYC, The Valley, Real Housewives of Miami. Sorry I couldn't do the Portia and Simon part 2. I just couldn't tonight. We had to talk about this stuff. But it will be next Friday while I'm in Cancun. And then I will be off probably a week when I get back because I'm a Leo. And I'm going to need a detox and a relaxation after my birthday because I'm working literally up to that flight, y'all. And yes, I'm just going to take not next week off, the week before. You'll know when I'm taking a week off. I will tell you, I won't go ghost like I did last time because last time I really did. It was just like, you know what? It's too much going on. Let me just take a break. And I think that's what makes me a boss, and that's what makes you a boss is when knowing you're tired and I can't give 100. This is a self-produced show. I find all the receipts with the thanks to Reddit and the internet resources and the Twitter, the Instagrams. I find a lot of my stuff alone. This is a one-woman show. So when I need a break, I need a break, and I am taking a break. When I get back from Mexico, I'll be there for an extended weekend, Friday through Monday. My birthday is Sunday. And I will be taking that week off, and I'll be back the following week with some more. But I will definitely be back next Tuesday for your toxic, but it is Tuesday. So until the next time, I will see you.